You're listening to the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett. I'm guessing you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, are considering getting on the mats, or maybe taking your best mate to train. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you want to play Spider Guard more often, start training Jiu Jitsu. I'd like to welcome Matt Garner, founder of Digittape, to my podcast. Hi Matt, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. So you are founder of Digittape with two T's in the middle. We won't make any reference to your name only having one T. Sorry, Matt.
It's okay.
Right. So I mentioned about playing Spider Guard more often. Tell me about Digittape and why it's a good idea to play Spider Guard more often.
Okay, I guess Digittape is a brand that I came up with to help athletes when they're training in the gi. It is a finger tape. It's something that I made or designed to help athletes as well. And I wanted to be able to give back with the products and stuff to people and try and help them out.
Fantastic. I know I started hearing about Digittape after I spoke with Olivia on one of the previous episodes. And I've got no idea how to use finger tape. And I'm sure some of my listeners know all about it. But for a newbie white belt or someone that's a bit further down their game, why do we need to use finger tape?
I mean, most of the time it is from overuse of your fingers. They do take a lot of hammer doing jiu-jitsu and doing gi. So I think a lot of the time, I think some people use them if their fingers are injured. Like I say, my fingers did get injured previously, which is why I started the brand, and that's how it kind of came to be. But one of the videos and the content that we have on Digittape is a video of how to tape your fingers, which has probably got the most views out of everything on there. I think it's sitting at about 15,000 at the moment. So it's extremely popular. But it is true. I mean, when I started jiu-jitsu, I used to see people that were obviously higher ranked than me. They used to have finger tape. And when I first used it, I didn't have a clue why they were using it or how to even tape my fingers correctly. But most of the time it is from overuse injuries and stuff like that, or for support for a long time, because if you're training for an hour, sometimes you've got, sensitive hands or fingers, and that's what it's used.
Absolutely. So we mentioned Spider Guard. I have, I guess, quite a strong grip, but holding Spider Guard, because my legs are quite short, so I can't actually keep closed guard, it really hurts my fingers. How can Digittape kind of help, or give me some tactics for being better at playing Spider Guard?
Using finger tapes is obviously going to always help a little bit. It's going to help the wear on your fingers throughout training. But I suppose it's one of those guards where we're using it sporadically. It wouldn't be something that I would stay in for a long period of time, because whilst we do have control of the person, it's not always the best guard, I would say, in my opinion. Again, depending on what you like. If you've got short legs, it might not always be the one for you either. So,
Agreed. I can never quite find the kind of the crook of the elbow to, it's a short leg thing. I find it a problem. I'm sure some of my listeners might do as well.
My partner trains, and she's got pretty short legs, so she probably, most definitely sits in that bracket, I would say. So
I love it. Okay, that's enough of Digittape now. Matt, tell me how long you've been training and what rank you are now.
So I'm currently been training for between 8 to 9 years now, and I'm currently a brown belt.
Fantastic. So, like many of us, you may not have known about martial arts before you started training. Where were you? What made you start training Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
So I was at college at the time. Didn't really know what to do. And one of the things offered to me was to, believe it or not, go and work on the doors.
Oh,
So
wow.
I, at 18, or I think I was either 18 or 19, I can't really remember now, it's been a long time, decided to go and get a door badge and then started working on the doors. So I worked on the doors from 19, which was either the best decision or the worst. Looking back now, it is really, really tough at that age, but it made me learn so much about myself. Ended up meeting a friend who kind of said to me, "Oh, you should come train," and I was like, not really bothered at the time. I boxed for quite a while. Felt pretty proficient, and then had friends that were actually starting to compete and do quite well. So I said to myself, okay, I'll give it a go. Went down, started training. I actually quit after about a year, believe it or not, which looking back now
Wow.
is quite amazing, because a lot of the time when people quit, or especially at a newer level, they don't end up coming back. So I then rejoined up, and then pretty much from now to brown belt's been an absolute blur. It's just gone so fast.
Oh my goodness. That sounds like a very whirlwind visit, but I'm going to take you back. So, working on the doors means being a security guard or a security
Yes.
person. Is that right?
Yeah, so that would be it was basically Friday and Saturday nights. I would work nightclubs, clubs, whatever was going. So.
And I guess you must have you were invited to take up that job, or was that something you kind of put yourself in for?
I think at the time, obviously, I didn't know what career I wanted to do, and I wanted some more money for the weekends and stuff like that. And instead of going out, I would rather work. Partying's never been a thing for me, but yeah, that's kind of how it came to be more than anything. That's how I put myself in that situation.
Oh, I like that. So, dealing with individuals from a security perspective on the doors, did you get into many fights, or were you kind of, keeping everyone in check?
It's a tough one. I mean, the job itself, you're not supposed to be getting into fights and stuff like that. But you do get the odd thing, and I did over the years, but nothing too crazy. You try, and if you're doing your job correctly, you shouldn't have to deal with any of that anyway. But there's always people that try and test your patience, so or try and push their luck, should I say? So, but no, even at the time, like I was still really really new to jiu-jitsu, and I don't think it was long after I actually started that I probably did it for about a year or two, and then I stopped working the doors after a while. To I think I did 4 years in total, and then
Yeah.
I actually left. So
Yeah.
stopped.
I mean, it sounds, a kind of an equal thing. You're at college, you're not into partying, but actually you still want to be out in the kind of vibe of the environment.
Yeah.
And working on the doors sounds like a great thing, but bolstering that with experience in boxing or jiu-jitsu, not that we would use those things outwardly if our role is to protect and
Yeah.
make people safe, but do you think jiu-jitsu gave you an added benefit for that particular job role?
Yeah, for sure. Not even just that, but it gives you a sense of confidence. If you ever get in altercations with anyone, there's always someone that's going to be better than you, whatever you do, whether it's sport or in real life or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But no, for sure. I mean, at a young age, I've never been one to struggle with confidence really, but in those situations when even at 18 or 19, that kind of situation or scenario is still quite new to you if you've not
Yeah.
spent that much time out and about. And you've probably spent the first period of your life dealing with people your age that are younger or mature, but then you're starting to deal with people that are way more mature than you. Some people are forgiving to someone younger, and then if someone younger comes up to them and asks them politely to do something, the chances are they never would do it. So
Yeah.
you have to learn ways around that to speak to people, so you grow up quickly around that
Yeah.
environment for sure, especially
Yeah.
with the things that have happened. So
It sounds like learning the kind of mental, kind of emotional language, as well as the physical language to do a job like that. That it all kind of comes together, and your calmness, your patience, your knowledge in dealing with people, and the potentially the physical side. And that for me relates to learning jiu-jitsu as an adult now, that it's not just a physical thing. I know we learn self-defense moves, and it's really to kind of, shut activity down so that nobody gets injured, and just kind of, defending ourselves if we need to in any, outdoor public situation.
Yeah.
Tell me about your white belt days. I'm currently a white belt. What made you re-sign back up to train jiu-jitsu, and how were your kind of early days?
So I guess to start off with, I've always been into sports. So I was always going to be doing a sport. I actually did judo for a little while beforehand, but I was very, very young, and I was trying to throw fully grown men, and it can be difficult. Even now, I relate to someone who's new or someone with poor technique. It can be difficult. So I knew I was always going to do some kind of grappling sport. So then, obviously, I came to do jiu-jitsu. But as a white belt, I had a good experience as a white belt, to be honest. I was at a good club. I had good role models. I wasn't really interested in competing too much. I probably trained for about a year and a half, and then I got dragged on to competing more than anything. I got pushed into doing it, which, I didn't really, like I say, I wasn't really too interested, and then started doing it, and I actually really, really enjoyed it. And then from then on, I was pretty hooked, to be fair. The first biggest competition I did was Europeans. I did absolutely dreadful. Like, I remember the first, going back a little bit, I remember the first time I competed. I was at Hereford. Anyone who's listening who's done jiu-jitsu before will know what Hereford Open is. It's quite an old competition. It's been around for quite a long time. And way back, they used to have like one mat area or two or three, but then they used to have like the old school, like benches that you see in schools, like literally round the mat, so you could get like really close, and it was quite intense. Now, I had my dad with me. I had my partner, who's still my partner today, with him as well, and they were sat watching. I had my first match. I did really, really well. Without being too disgusting, I actually threw up whilst I was fighting, but swallowed it and carried on going. It was absolutely a horrendous experience. I ended up winning that match, and then the second match, I actually ended up fighting the guy that had just come back from the Europeans at white belt and won. And I didn't know, and I lost to him, I believe, by an advantage, I think it was. And I can remember the individual that came up to me afterwards and said, like, really well done, like this lad's just won Europeans. And I didn't even know what Europeans was at this point. I didn't know how big of a deal it was. But yeah, from there on, I had a good experience at white belt. It's good.
That's good. My professor, one of his things is give competing a go, and some people love it, some people it's not for. I've put my hat in the ring, or I've registered for a number of competitions, and being a female and Masters 4 in super heavy, I have had a number of refunds. I now have my registration in for, you mentioned Europeans, I have my registration in for, this is, okay, I need to...
It's not exclusive.
It's not an exclusive necessarily, but probably broadcast exclusive. The IBJJF European Masters in May will be my first competition. Fingers crossed. If there's any white belts out there listening, Masters 4, super heavy, get yourself to Barcelona. Let's have a match. At the moment, there are no competitors, but I'm hoping. But yeah, so Europeans is going to be my first competition.
I'll be there as well.
Oh, will you? Oh, amazing. Okay,
yeah.
You need to cheer me on. Okay,
yeah, I will for sure.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know you were going to be there. I'm very relieved.
I'm going to be there.
I don't feel quite so embarrassed about it being my first competition.
No.
But was it the adrenaline that made you throw up and be sick at the first? I mean, not
probably, yeah. Do you know what it is? I think a lot of the time when people compete, they obviously really want to win, but because their team's there, they care about what people think way too
Yeah.
much. Like I can remember competing and I was more bothered about what other people would think of me rather than actually winning and getting off. Now, obviously that
Yeah.
is, it's individual. Like not everyone's going to be like that, but I think a vast majority of people do. So I always say to people when they compete, like, don't look for, don't look for like acceptance from anyone else. Go and do it.
Yeah.
And don't, it doesn't matter what anyone, it doesn't matter what people think about
Yeah.
it afterwards. You could win the worlds a week later. No one's going to care. Like no one remembers it. No one cares. Like they won't even remember. It's like if you go to a tournament and you watch, two random people competing, that person that's in the middle of the mat probably thinks everyone's looking at them. Everyone cares what they think. 2 seconds after it's done, you forget who that person was. You probably won't even see him for the rest of the day. So, don't think too much about what other people think. Go and do it for yourself.
I love that. I'm taking away notes now, and with a refreshed mindset of not giving a stuff what other people think. You're there for yourself. I'm going to be there for myself. And, I think I'm okay. So training jiu-jitsu, something else has just come up for me, that it very much is training and being there for yourself. Even, showing up 2 or 3 times a week, maybe more. You're not doing it for anybody else. You're doing it for you. And it's remembering that being on the training mat sounds exactly like just how you need to approach competitions.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think even with training, it's the same thing. Like you could be training with, you could have a training session. Obviously, you're in your own training session. You could spend an hour training and have a really good session or a really bad session, but no one's been watching. You don't know that the person over there has just been getting smashed for an hour as well. Like, no one's watching.
Yeah, I wear glasses. Obviously, I'm wearing glasses now, but I don't wear glasses when I'm training because obviously I can't. And I'm really short-sighted, so I can't even see who's rolling next to me.
Me too. I wear contacts as well. I'm super blind. I've got my contacts in now just because I've got the headset on so it doesn't interfere. But I wear contacts as well. I've actually competed and one's come out, so that's real fun because it's like trying to fight someone. One eye's like underwater, and then the other one's like normal sighted. So yeah, it's real fun. So.
You mentioned contacts. One of my previous guests, James Cathro, he had one of his contact lenses come out during one of his matches, and I kind of remember. Are you allowed to wear contacts, obviously, during a match? What are the kind of rules, or is it just up to you?
I've not seen anything or any rules to say that you can't. I think I've even seen people with I know an individual, not personally, but I've seen an individual wearing like a face mask before. But no, I don't think there's any rules to it. So it should be fine.
Just checking. I mean, my eyes can't take contact lenses, so I'm stuck with the glasses and the short-sightedness for now.
Yeah.
So that was your white belt days. You started competing then. Does that mean you got the bug for competing and carried on?
I guess so. Yeah. I had a good team around me at the time, which obviously always helps. I think whenever you're training, it's good to have a good team around you. But no, I competed. I competed a little bit more at white belt, not too much, I don't think. And then I got promoted not long after that to blue belt. Didn't spend much time at blue belt, really. It was about 10 months, and then I got promoted again. But I competed a little bit at blue belt, but I was training a lot. I was training 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes 2 hours at a time. Like, some people say that they train like once or twice a week or 3 times, but I was training 3-4 times a week, twice for like 2 hours a night. So my progression was like a lot, really. I progressed quite quickly.
Do you think that's something that happens when you become a blue belt? You're invested more in the training. I certainly see a lot more kind of blue belts when I, get the opportunity to train at a lunchtime or, and or evening, that the blue belts show up and their dedication is there. What I'm seeing about, blue belts skipping off and then not coming back to the mats is not true. I'm seeing a lot more blue belts training jiu-jitsu.
I think you're right. I mean, back when I was a white belt, like competing and then to blue, it was quite popular that people would get the blue belt and then they would leave. Now, from blue belt, the high belts don't give you any like leeway. you're a blue belt now. That's it. Like, you're past the beginner stage. Like, they won't give you any leeway. So I think you're right. I think some people either get the bug and they continue to train, or they find it quite hard because they've gone from being a beginner to not being a beginner essentially anymore. And I know when I got my blue belt, like, I started training and I felt like I had to like live up to my blue belt. Like, I had to be like, right, I'm a blue belt now. Like, I need to like act like one.
Yeah.
I'm not just at training just to have fun, and I'm supposed to lose mindset. Like, I need to go now because I've got a target. So it's good and it's bad. It is a tough belt, but I don't think it's the toughest.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a way off. I'm quite comfortable with my white belt, so we will leave it there for now. This is a Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. Go and check out the latest video clips over on Instagram at jiu.jitsu.lu. And as you're listening or watching on your favourite podcast platform, I'd really appreciate you dropping a rating and a review. Today, I'm having a conversation with Matt Garner, founder of Digittape. Matt, so we've got to your blue belt days. When did you first start having problems with your fingers and needing to use any sort of finger tape?
So my first actual injury, which is when I started taping, was actually white belt. I was training, and I can see it right in my head now. I was training, getting ready for Europeans, and sparring, and I'm about to shoot a double leg. And as I put my hands down, my hands go into the mat and my knuckle went straight up. And as you can see, my finger now doesn't go straight at all. It's completely bent. As a inexperienced white belt does, I left it. I was just like, oh, I'll be fine. It wasn't. It was hurting for a while. I actually went to Europeans, take my hand up. Thankfully, I lost my first fight, believe it or not, because I came off, my hand was like a balloon, so I couldn't grip anything. Believe it or not, before that point, or like into like where I'm at now, I didn't actually get any more hand injuries. It was just use of my grips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I got another one probably like towards the end of purple belt. And then like my fingers are okay, but they're like wonky carrots now. So some people don't actually suffer at all from it. They're absolutely fine. And I envy them because, sometimes it is a little bit of effort taping your fingers every session, but sometimes you get the short straw. So.
What advice would you give to anyone sustaining or kind of having an injury?
It's important to generally, like in all seriousness, it is important to look after whatever it is that you've injured. Make sure that you don't ignore it, because you'll ignore it for a short period of time and it will come back, and it will come back potentially worse than what it is when you first did it. And if you want to stay on the mats for longer, you need to either seek help from whoever it is and honestly rest it. I was really stubborn. My partner used to say to me all the time, don't go training, like, do this, do that. When I hurt my hand, I was tucking my hand in my belt. I was going back training, just doing silly things. Like, I've hurt my ankles before and I've trained like and not shut my guard. Like, just, you don't need to be doing that. Like, tomorrow's another day. Just take your time, get it rehabbed, and go again.
Yeah, I love that. That's great advice. My fingers are fairly intact. You mentioned kind of, bendy carrots. I did once break my finger when I was kind of 17, ice skating. It's still attached, but the bone actually completely broke across the joint. So I'm mindful. Things were kind of clicked back into place. But since training jiu-jitsu, my other little finger seems to now match the shape of my broken finger. So at least they're matching again. That's all I can say. What can people do to help their fingers, and what is the benefit of taping fingers? Would you, when my finger was broken, I had to tape it to the next one, but that didn't really give me a lot of flexibility and mobility to be able to do things. What's the benefit of taping, and how do you do it?
So for me, the benefit for me was when I actually hurt my finger, I could squeeze, but I couldn't go like to a full fist. So taping it for me was helping me not squeeze too hard, and it actually was helping me not be able to shut my fingers completely and squeeze, you know, super hard. Likewise, it does give some stability. So if you do stub your fingers, then it's not going to bend as easily because it's, you know, it's held a bit more in position before you're obviously sparring or training. And longevity, sometimes if you do train a lot, if you're training 2 hours a night, and you're working your hands completely for 2 hours a night, and you train 3-4 times a week, you know, or even if you're just new to start off with, when you're doing jiu-jitsu, like parts of your body are going to start aching that you didn't even know ached, and fingers is most certainly one of those. You know, we all use our hands pretty much every day, but it's surprising how much over time it'll start to ache your fingers, and you need your hands, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was intrigued when you just said tape them so that you aren't able to grip quite so tightly, or, you know, to use the full mobility to actually just protect from damaging your joints even further. I hadn't really thought about it like that.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I take my fingers pretty tight anyway, but over time, it obviously training, it does loosen when you move your hands. But yeah, I try not to. If I can't grip as tight, I'm probably going to be a bit more conscious about what I'm doing, which makes you think why you sparring, because a lot of the time, even not even new people that train jiu-jitsu, they can be like quite strong with their grips like all the time, constantly, and you know, you don't need to be. You know.
No, I like that. If you're not quite as tight with the grips, you can then balance up your game, and you know, that for me feels like a mindful way forwards to maybe try not to grip quite so tight. I do grip quite tightly on gi and lapel, and you know, gi pants when I'm rolling or training. But you know, if I was to not grip quite so tightly, what other moves would improve if I was, you know, balancing things up and not relying on strength or grips? I know we're not supposed to rely on strength. But I'm still a white belt. I'm still a white belt.
Yeah, I mean, we're always going to rely back to what we know, or what, like, that's what's natural. And if you're strong, you're gonna do that. But I think that the more you relax, like especially your hands, which are always active while we're doing jiu-jitsu, you're gonna start to think a little bit more about what you're doing. Like I always say to people if I'm teaching, that if someone's got a grip, there's some grips in jiu-jitsu that should be like muscle memory. If they get a certain grip, we deal with it straight away. But there's some grips that I can let my partner have, and I don't have to be so concerned about it straight away. I can just relax, see what's happening, and if it becomes a problem, then I deal with it then. Unless it's something that I'm aware of, I can deal with it straight away. But you know, it makes you understand the whole game of jiu-jitsu a little bit more.
Yes, I often watch matches, competition, even, you know, rolling or sparring in the gym, and for me, I relate to playing chess with scorpions. That's sometimes how it feels. You go, you know, there's that slow, methodical, and then suddenly they're out to get you, which of course they are. I learned a very good tip from a brown belt. I know you're a brown belt. I ended up changing my game from grips to dealing with the legs and dealing with the lower body because of the kind of strength. And that for me was the shifting point between focusing on the grips. So when you say you might not deal with certain grips, or there's only certain grips you deal with, you know, that I related to that, you know, in dealing with guard, or, you know, the hips and the whatever. What is your game? Where are your strong points in jiu-jitsu as a brown belt?
So mine. So as we go along, I suppose we always take our time to work out what it is that we want to do, and I feel like purple belt for a majority of people is probably about where we're going to start looking at what we want to do. So from purple belt, I started playing like a lot of lapel guard. Again, for me, grips was always a big thing. So me holding on to a lapel, rather than an arm or a sleeve that's going to fight back, is a lot easier on my hands and my grip. So if I'm holding your lapel, it's not going to move. If I'm holding your arm, it's going to start moving, right? So for me, competition, my A game is all lapel based stuff. I do post videos on Digittape like every Sunday, and majority of those are lapel guard stuff. But even that guard game, that that for me, I worked on that for probably 3.5 years till I literally got bored of doing it in training. So then doing it in competition, to the point where I was so proficient, I'm just going through my emotions like quite nicely. So.
Okay, my mind is spinning. I've got close guard, I've got spider guard. What the heck is lapel guard? Can you explain?
A really easy way of explaining lapel guard, I guess, is we do like spider guard, so we like lasso an arm. We would do the same thing, but just using their lapel.
Okay.
So that's where that kind of game incorporates itself. So then we're using our own leg, and then we're going to tie it up to that person so they can't move, basically. So it's incorporating their gi lapel into sweeping and getting into different positions.
Cool. Right. I'm still a bit clueless. I'm going to go and check out your Instagram for the videos on the Sunday. It's like guard game. Yeah, that's where I'm kind of learning at the moment. Yeah. I picked up a little tip about a scissor sweep the other day. I tried to pull it off twice on like Monday lunchtime. I didn't do it. And I was like, oh. I was like, okay, so I just need to raise my knee under their chin and just try a different kind of technique, because the scissor sweep, I'm not. It's not working. It's not working on me. What other moves work really well for you? You've got the lapel guard. I'm trying to dig in and learn brown belt techniques now, Matt.
Okay. I always think that obviously having a good guard's really, really important, but I feel like stand-up's extremely important. And I feel like it gets neglected a lot more and more, like throughout matches. You know, you don't see many people, even some of the bigger people that are competing, like, you know, they're not very really into playing guard, but even now I feel like the stand-up's really, really important. So for me, having a solid stand-up game is really, really important, because it teaches you a lot of things. It teaches you how to grip fight correctly, which applies to all positions. It teaches you how to manage your distance, which is also very, very important. I don't know, it opens a lot of other doors that are going to be relevant, keeping your balance, things like that. And it's always good to have that, not only just in competition, but in real life as well. It's very, very important to be confident while you're standing up, I believe. So having a good stand-up game, and I like doing stand-up.
That's good. I know that judo, there's a lot of stand-up game. Jiu-jitsu generally is a ground game. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
And kind of, you know, I don't know. I can't even remember any moves off the top of my head now. Come on, Lou. Yeah. Fair enough way through your white belt. Come on. So just grip fighting, what's the stand-up game for you?
So grip fighting, I like to go for a lot of throws. Grip fighting is important for me to be able to dominate grips, to get basically what I want to and get into a position that I want to get into. It is complicated, but it doesn't have to be. I think some people also overthink it. A lot of the time when people are learning or doing stand-up, they're waiting for that perfect moment to do a technique. Like you see them in judo quite a lot. They're always waiting for that 1 second to go. It doesn't always have to be, especially in jiu-jitsu. Like, we can move to other positions. So if it's failed, we can go off that position if it fails, you know?
Yeah, I think for me, my game now is not necessarily worrying about what's not there, but for seeing opportunities for what I can pull off and what moves there are. You know, often when I've gone in, like the scissor sweep this week, I couldn't pull it off, but I didn't then have my backup move. What's next if I can't pull off a scissor sweep?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, even that. I mean, you could have been taken down. It could have been a failed takedown attempt. You could end up in that position. You just, you know, you don't know. So that's where it can work in as well.
Yeah, I just need to, you know, cover my back, because I often give my back up and go, oh, there's like another back take. At least I'm defending the arm bars these days. That's all I'm pleased with now.
Yeah, get in the habit of not leaving your arms out and pushing out.
Exactly. Not just white belts get arm barred, as I learned from one of my previous guests. It happens to the best of you.
Everyone gets arm barred. Exactly.
Someone's got to be submitted somewhere.
Yeah.
can you offer some advice for anyone starting their jiu-jitsu career, or maybe approaching blue belt or kind of continuing through the belts, and they're having a bit of a wobble? What advice would you give for them?
Consistency is obviously really, really big. You need to make time for yourself, like you do, because sometimes, obviously, depending on your age, depending on what you've got going on in life, it can be difficult to train because not everyone's fortunate enough to be able to all the time. We've got family, kids, might run businesses, whatever. But I mean, even for myself, I've been busy before, and I'm like, I know how much I used to train. So I'm like, I have a second just to be think, right, am I training enough? Am I doing me? Am I making sure that I'm happy? And if I'm not, I have to put them people second and be like, right, I need to get back to training. I need to get back into that zone. But consistency definitely is key for it. Having good training partners, you can't beat having good training partners. You need people around you that are giving you good advice, that are pushing you, not letting you slack off when it's there. Again, resting when you've got injuries, things like that, just being sensible. And I think that if you are unsure about competing, you're in jiu-jitsu, and I go training and some people are like, oh, I'm not interested in competing. But if you're in that room of jiu-jitsu, you have an element of like a competitive side to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in that room. You want to win somehow, because essentially you're having a battle with someone else and you're trying to beat them. So you have that in you. It's just building up that enough confidence to be able to compete. And I feel like competing could make or break it for you. Do you know what I mean? But it's not for everyone. But I would always say to people, go try competing. Like, even if it's just once. If you hate it, just don't do it again. Continue training though. And I always say to myself, no matter what happened in my life, like I'm always going to keep training. Always. Like, I'll never stop. And when it comes to 5 o'clock, I drop what I'm doing, I go training.
I love it. I think that's one of the fighting spirit that, like you say, if you're on the mats, then you have that in you already because you're there.
Yeah.
But anyone I've spoken to that trains jiu-jitsu wants to do it forever. There is no, it's always in their mindset. They're always going to keep training. And I think, it is a lifelong activity, art, whatever, and having the right people and friends around you. I know when I've not really felt like it, you end up getting a text message from your best mate and they go, are you training today? And then that guilt looks like, okay, I'll go training.
Yeah. It's nice, to have them people around you. You need them, especially if you've got goals, you want to be pushed, and you need them people around you.
Yeah. I want more advice from you, Matt. What do people need to think about most if they're heading into a competition?
Not too much. I think, people bombard you with the questions. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you doing this? No. Just go training, like, trust yourself. Like, I always say to people, like, or when I first started training, I didn't trust my jiu-jitsu enough. Like, I know what I'm doing, and maybe you get to competition as a new person, you get them in guard and you don't want to open your guard because you're scared. Like, I don't want to open my guard, they're going to pass. But trust yourself. Like, you know what you're doing. You wouldn't be in this position if you didn't, and you know way more than what you did when you first started. It's important. Trust yourself.
I like that. I'm going to take that one piece of advice, Matt. Probably there's lots of other advice that you've offered throughout this episode, so I'm going to trust myself.
Yeah, you have to.
Matt, how can people get hold of you, follow your journey, and find out about Digittape?
Instagram's definitely the best one at the moment. That's what we're on the most. So Digittape UK. You can go on there, look at all the content that we've got. We are giving back, and I'm trying my hardest to give back as much as I can. Like, the money I make from Digittape, I take nothing for myself. That money goes back into buying more stock, and it goes towards funding athletes. Now, that's for competition entries mostly, or I sponsor people for tape. Currently at the moment, we're sitting just under £600 that we've given back in just over a year of running the business, which I'm super happy about. It's been brilliant, and it's been well received. There's all sorts of bits and bobs on there. If you don't know how to take your fingers, that's on there. my own personal Instagram's on there if you want to see what I'm doing when I'm competing and stuff like that. But yeah, Instagram's definitely the best. And then obviously digittape.co.uk is the website.
Fantastic. I love hearing about businesses that have started up from, the origins of solving our own problems.
Yeah.
And I think, what better way forward in life to solve your own problems? That sounds like a jiu-jitsu thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Solving your own problems.
Yeah.
Defending the armbar. But protecting your fingers and making sure that you can continue training for as long as possible. Matt, thank you so much for joining me today. Please come back again and chat with me a bit further down the line. And keep showing up. And I'll be following your journey and working out how to tape my fingers.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been nice.
You are very welcome. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for telling your friends about the show. And as soon as this episode ends, I'd really appreciate you dropping the show a rating and a review. Thanks again for listening. Catch you on the next episode of the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast.